Radio V. Radio in TV.
Radio in TV.
Our government has a firm policy not to capitulate to terrorist demands, that no concessions policy remains in force. In spite of the wildly speculative and false stories about arms for hostages and alleged ransom payments, we did not, repeat, did not trade weapons or anything else for hostages, nor will we.
The ballad of the bullet, some freedom or some bullshit. Will we ever do it big or just keep settling for little shit? We brag on having bread, but none of us are bakers. We all talk having greens, but none of us on acres. If none of us on acres and none of us grow wheat, then who will feed our people when our people need to eat? So it seems our people starve from lack of understanding, cause all we seem to give them is some ballin' and some dancing and some talking about our car and imaginary mansions. We should be indicted for bullshit we inciting, telling children death and pretending it's exciting. We are advertisements for agony and pain. We exploit the youth, we tell them to join the gang. We tell them dope stories, introduce them to the game. Just like Oliver North introduced us to cocaine in the 80s when them bricks came on military planes.
A few months ago, I told the American people I did not trade arms for hostages. My heart and my best intentions still tell me that's true, but the facts and the evidence tell me it is not.
The end of the Reagan era, I'm like Lemma 12er, old enough to understand the shit had changed forever. They declared the war on drugs, like a war on terror. What it really did was let the police terrorize whoever, but mostly black boys, but they would call us niggas, and lay us on our belly while they fingers on their triggers. They boots was on our head, they dogs was on our crotches, and they would beat us up if we had diamonds on our watches, and they would take our drugs and monies as they pick our pockets. I guess that's the privilege of policing for some profit. But thanks to Reaganomics, prison turned to profits, cause free labor's the cornerstone of U.S. economics. Cause slavery was abolished unless you are in prison. You think I ambush it and then read the 13th Amendment? Involuntary servitude and slavery it prohibits. That's why they giving drug offenders time in double digits. Ronald Reagan was an actor, not at all a factor, just an employee of the country's real masters. Just like the Bushes, Clinton and Obama, just another talking head telling lies on teleprompter. If you don't believe the theory, then argue with this logic. Why did Reagan and Obama both go after Gaddafi? We invading sovereign soil, going after oil. Taking countries is a hobby paid for by the oil lobby. Same as in Iraq and Afghanistan. And Ahmadinejad say they coming for Iran.
Mike.
What up, brother?
Man,
you
didn't pull no punches. If you're just tuning in, man, we had to start off this show righteously with the song Reagan, and even the full song. You know, when you go to the end, you start spelling it out. Ronald, Wilson, Reagan. It sounds real ominous, you know, like you had a point to prove that you took an American icon that people have been trying to recreate his image and make him forget about stuff, and you just came and do a knockout blow, man. Do you feel bad about it, or you even said you're glad Reagan's dead?
Yeah, I think that most of the people who represent my community feel like that. So I think I speak for a larger group of people.
I hear that, man. Killer Mike in the building. The name of the song is Rap Music, or the album is Rap Music.
Yep.
And you have an acronym for that. What is it? What is it?
Rebellious African People's Music.
You took hip-hop back to where it needs to be.
I think I took it forward to where it needs to go.
Okay, I like that. You took it forward to where, you know, why did you feel it's so important to make statements when it's so much easier, in many ways, people feel maybe even profitable to do a dance song, to keep it safe, do product placement in your songs?
You can dance to JoJo's Chillin'. You know? I make records I make life records. You can have a whole life experience listening to rap music. You know, you go strip club with your wife, like I rap about in the third verse of Southern Fried, and kick it, and, but I think that it's important for me to make statements, because statements need to be said. Like, as a young black male in this country, when I say young black male, man, I don't even mean 16, 17, 18. I mean, like, young men in their late 20s, 30s, early 40s. Like, you have a group of men that for their whole life have never had a voice and never had an organization to give them a voice, never had a national agenda spoken for on their behalf, have continued to be double unemployment rate, and just, nobody's since probably 1992. Like their advocates were rappers prior to that, and after that, just rappers stopped rapping as much. Now you've had notables like the Coop, you had Dead Prez, you know, you had some amazing artists that in the South, David Banner, you know, me, K Reno. You've had
oh man, you mentioned K Reno. Big shout out to him.
Exactly. You've had all these, you know, you've had rappers doing it, but it hasn't been a part of the culture like it was prior to like 1992, 93. So,
do you think that was deliberate, or what happened? What do you think changed?
Money and the same thing that happened in politics with the availability of lobbyist money. Political agendas start, you know, bending to the will of corporations and companies. And the same thing has happened when artists have an opportunity to get a sack full of money or an account full of money to represent corporations. Then you start to quiet some of what you just naturally would do as an artist. You know, now there's a such thing. I'm talking about artists. Some people just entertainers. You can put a song in their mouth and teach them an 8-step, and they can dance, and they can be court jesters or fools. But that's not. I'm an artist. You know, an artist is what Basquiat was. An artist is what Warhol was. An artist is Henry Watana. You know, that's Melvin Van Peebles. You know what I mean? That's an artist, and that's what I try to do. And as an artist, you're supposed to provoke.
Right. And be a reflection, would you say, or does it?
I think so.
You've been doing that. You know, one of the. I mean, you've been around for a minute. You know, coming from Atlanta, you've been doing it for a minute. But I think what really caught people's attention in a big way was when you and Ice Cube did that song, "The Pressure."
Yeah,
and it was the video to it, because, like you said, we hadn't seen Malcolm X in rap video since '92.
Yeah,
we hadn't seen that sort of militancy that was uncompromised coming in a rap song that had the whole package. That was right there front and center. Like, you went from 50 Cent to whoever, and there was Killer Mike's song right there. And, it made me realize how much, we were missing. And I thought, man, that when you did that, there would be more folks that would have gravitated in that direction, because it caught a lot of attention, but it just seemed like a lot of folks held back. And there was so much things going on at that time and afterwards that I was really surprised. I mean, Katrina, all sorts of things, and people just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, I just, it's my job to say it, to keep saying it. So I said it in Pressure, and, people thought it was entertainment, and the condition stayed the same. Then I said it again in Burn after the untimely demise of Oscar Grant, at the hands of a BART officer.
And people in Oakland appreciate the fact that you came out here and put Grant's people in the family.
Definitely, and forever send my love and support to them. And people seem to get it. This base seemed to get it more. People start saying, okay, this is for real. He isn't just, because I know a lot of rappers only do these kind of songs just because it's the hot topic. And I understand the audience had got jaded, but all my records are going to have a reflection of this, and rap music is probably the most social. So when I came with Reagan, I just felt like it was a cap on all those, because I think that a lot of times that the things that I will choose to talk about, and not even solely talk about, I think it's things that we talk about in the barbershops as black men.
Right.
That it's things that we talk about amongst ourselves at the water cooler. So I just want to be a part of the conversation over the airway.
I'm going to stay on Reagan for a minute, because I think it's critically important. There was the documentary that came out called Planet Rock, Hip Hop and the Crack Generation, that VH1 did.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I thought it was well done, and what stood out and should be a reminder was just how pervasive and how destructive crack cocaine was.
Yeah.
And what has happened over the past 15, 20 years, there's been a makeover of Ronald Reagan. We don't associate him with crack, even though back in the days, Melly Mel and them were talking about it. Yeah. Gil Scott-Heron and them were talking about it. And many of us who were old enough, remember the Iran-Contra scandal. So the point that I'm getting at is that there have been these forces that have remade the image of Reagan. Now they want to name not just airports but schools, and they want to have his picture in the books, and they're using culture as a way to promote him. I mean, even here in California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, an actor himself, you know, went and signed Ronald Reagan Day right here in the Bay, in California. You know, said let's honor him in the middle of Black History Month. So
The man that wanted to do away with the Panthers.
that's right.
Yeah.
Do away with the Panthers and then introduce crack. We just had Freeway Ricky in here.
Yeah.
You know,
Shouts out to Rick.
he the Freeway Ricky Ross, the real one.
Yeah, I already know. That's why I said shouts
South
out to Rick.
Central. Yeah, he sat right in your seat and talked about, you know, that insidious cocaine connection that existed with the Reagan administration and
Yeah.
the hood. But what was so refreshing about your song, with all that money that they put behind remaking his image, you came along and in about 16, 20 bars took that down, gave its context, and made us refocus.
Yeah, and not even for, like, you know, I don't throw cheap shots. You know, if I don't do that, like I know a lot of people do. And then when I say that, I mean beyond rap. Like Fox News caught wind of the on the 5, and some idiot white guy just made a cheap shot about me being black, me being fat. Meanwhile, he was white, he was fat, and he was very poorly dressed. But I just said that how redundant and how much of an ignoramus do you have to be to have achieved whatever you've achieved to be on a prestigious network like Fox, arguably prestigious, and the best you can come up with against such a logical and eloquently spoken song is, you know, I don't like fat black guys, and this is why. And it just really showed me the just the minuscule minds that I'm dealing with, you know, in terms of trying to uphold Reagan. Like, he was a pitch man when he was alive. He sold cigarettes and he sold political agendas. And now that he's dead, you're continuing to lionize a pitch man. And I'm just saying, don't be a fool. We have other presidents to lionize. We have our founding fathers who we can lionize. You have the presidents who brought you out of the Great Depression to lionize. You have presidents who died in Dallas in cars in their wife's arms to lionize, who died on the behalf of keeping your true liberties alive. You have a president who's alive now in Jimmy Carter, who has lived to regret some of his decisions, is now trying to make up for them to lionize. And you'd rather keep lionizing a liar. I just say that makes you a fool. And
Right.
I don't have much respect for fools, so I'm gonna keep doing this.
As John Henry Clark, the great scholar, once said, I don't debate anybody but my equals.
Talk to me. I
So
love that,
you know,
man.
so if he's an ignoramus,
Yeah.
then you know what, we don't even need to talk
Yeah,
about.
that's what I'm saying. Them people can't. What they
Now,
think
one of
don't
the
matter.
things that's interesting, I want to go back a little bit, okay? Because
what, man?
you
want me to start
yes,
trouble,
you said some lines in that song,
Yeah.
but I want to go back to 2008. We were at the in Houston
Yeah.
at the Ozone Awards,
Yeah.
and you spoke, man, eloquently, man. I put it in a commercial, and we
Oh,
was
wow.
running it in '08 during the election of Barack Obama, and see if we might be able to cue that up over there. It's Killer Mike speaks about politics. See if we can get that, because I think what you said was just incredible, and you set a tone. Because if you remember, there were about 10,000 people there. Everybody was there at that summit. It was you, Rick Ross, Bun B. Everybody was sitting
Boosie
there.
up there? I think Boosie was on one panel I did that weekend.
Yeah, there was a lot of folks sitting there, Chameleon there, and you talked about the importance of the rap community sticking together and not letting Obama election get undone by some rap BS.
Yeah.
But in your song, you know, you took him to task.
Exactly.
You took him to task, and so I wanted to get your take on
If
that.
I don't love you, I gotta love you to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I got to love you, man. I got to love you with all I got to correct you. You know, I don't care to correct Ronald Reagan. I'm glad he did.
Right.
I meant that I said it. I die knowing it. You will die knowing I meant it. You know, but with my brother, I'd be a fool not to call you on it. That's all.
Well, this came out of love too. Very powerful speech. Let's listen to a little bit of this with Killer Mike.
Bang, 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 bang. I am Killer Mike, man. What's happening? I want people to understand we as Americans are losing rights by the day. It's things that we need to do, and before you can do those things, you got to get angry. Angry enough to ask questions of the politicians that you're telling to vote for one candidate and they're voting for the other. Angry enough not to accept not only police harassment, but police brutality. And when you do that, when you go for true freedom and you start asking the questions, you're really going to put pressure on the people who hold power in your life. That's what I'm trying to inspire people to do.
For the last 40 years, we have heard, especially amongst African Americans, that we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We never quite knew what overcoming was. We never knew what overcoming was going to look like. No one set a date for overcoming. No one had itinerary for the overcoming of. But I was encouraged to see in Barack Obama a synergy happen amongst people across the lines, a certain energy that happened amongst black, white, Latino. People finally decided they overcame. And I believe in the African American community especially, it was important for us to get to the point where we decided to overcome. I think that what's happening now in politics parallels hip-hop because you know the backstories of hip-hop. You don't have to wait for a story to tell you who Shawty Lo was before, because he tells you, this is who I was, I reformed myself, and I decided to make a change. I decided to do this thing. Barack Obama was honest from the start. From the start, Barack said, this is who I am, these are the mistakes I made, this is me pure and impure, and I'm asking you to decide to vote for me. I think that hip-hop spoke because over the last 40 years, hip-hop has been this thing that was born. It was born out of black nationalism. It was born out of poverty. It was born into an economic resource that became an alternative to crack. And I think the pinnacle of this is we finally have a candidate that's willing to say, I'm for men taking care of their family. Because contrary to popular belief, rappers are men who take care of their family. More, I sit on panels, time and time again, the only people in the wedding zone are rappers. I go to communities and barbershops. The only people who had the courage to support Obama before any of our black politicians were rappers. The only people who had the courage. Now, with that comes a certain responsibility. And our responsibility as rappers is to get off the boo-boo. If I can quote Eric Great MC, we cannot and we must not endanger this man or become an Achilles heel to him by bringing our rap bullshit to politics. In other words, nigga, put your suit on if you go to church. If we're going to be in support of Barack Obama, we have to clean up certain things. We have to make sure that the language, although true to us, cannot be used by a wild...
You got to stand an ovation after you did that.
Yeah.
And let me give people the context. You know, and I didn't talk to you about this, but I'm gonna make a guess. This was about the time that Ludacris had called Hillary Clinton a B. You remember that? And so that was bringing a whole lot of attention.
Yeah.
Everybody was going through the lyrics, and they were starting to be, who's he hanging with? And it seemed like you was giving that across the board warning. You know, don't become the Achilles heel.
Yeah.
With that being said, the criticism with our president is that he hasn't come in a way that many people expected or wanted him or needed him to address our agenda. You know, black men and maybe even young people themselves. You know, we see that playing itself out when I go to these campuses and other places. But your thoughts on this, because you did criticize him pretty harshly in that Reagan song as well, as you said.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be an evolution on your part from when you gave that speech, which
No,
you said,
not an evolution of, just the day after. Like the day after I vote for you is the day your work begins. And then I got to judge you on the content of your character on the basis of your work.
right.
See, I got to get you in office to critique you. I've already decided myself you're the best one to be critiqued.
Okay.
So once I have you in the place of critiquing, you know, my grandmother was hard on me. She was hard on me. But she was hard on me because she saw me as the best of. She saw me that I had to be equal or better to those on the highest par. And I had to understand that after so long that the reason I thought she hated me for a number of years is because she saw something in me that I hadn't acknowledged in myself, and I had allowed others around me to limit me. And that's what I'm saying. We have allowed Nancy Pelosi. We've allowed Harry Reid. We've allowed a Congress and a Senate. We have allowed angry politicians from the other side to limit him. And, you know, one or two things has to happen. First of all, we have to settle. We've never stated our agenda. And if, as a black people, we've never stated our agenda. And we've never, as black men, certainly haven't stated our agenda. As black men, we've never said we are a voting bloc. For the second time, we're going to come out and vote for someone. But if you don't do a jobs program in Detroit, Oakland, Watts, Compton, Southeast Atlanta, if you don't do a jobs program in East New York, we are going to vote for Ron Paul.
Okay. So that's how you do it.
That's how you do it, because that's how you win elections. You win elections by show of organizing force and getting votes, or by paying and becoming parts of super PACs and lobby
What do you
groups.
say to those people? What do you say to those people that would be like, Mike, you don't want to let Mitt Romney get into office because he's going to make the whole thing just go to hell?
Those are the same people that's celebrating Obamacare, which is the same thing as Romney Care. Your two guys aren't that different. I don't care who's in office. I voted for him because I felt like he was the best person to be sensitive to the needs of my community and to push an agenda forward if we present one. And I think the first thing on our agenda in the black community should be black male jobs programs. It should be black male jobs programs, because if you stabilize a young black male, if you stabilize black men with employment, you stabilize the community. Because now you don't have men outside the community going into prison, but you have men in the community, and you have more men at home. A lot of men are just outside their homes because they can't afford.
Right.
They can't afford to feel like men by taking care of their portion of it, which brings economic strife between a man and a woman, which separates most young couples, most poor young couples. We could have stabilized families with better jobs, with trades, you know. So my thing is, if we're not rallying and pushing for that, then we ain't on the right agenda anyway. And I can't debate that with you. I can't debate with you what I know works.
Right,
you know,
right.
I saw what ended gang violence in Atlanta 20 years ago. It was the introduction of summer jobs. You know, when Crips and gangster disciples could get jobs in Atlanta, there wasn't no using to have gang means no more. It was money to be made.
Right.
You know, so my thing is, if you're not really serious about educating and employing and empowering the African-American male, you know, in the community, you're a fool. And that ain't saying, sisters, I'm not thinking about y'all, and I'm not saying any of that. But I'm saying you have a group of men, not only your potential mates, or the ones you don't care nothing about, but your sons and your nephews and your godsons who have the ability to work as hard as anyone else, yet their unemployment at double the national rate. And that's just a shame.
Do you think he's going to listen?
No, because we aren't yelling. People only listen when you yell. When you go in the club and you buy bottles with a credit card, nobody knows.
But you said, and I think accurately so, this large body of people, we'll just call it hip-hop.
Yeah.
Put him into office. You were one of the first to be out in front. People did songs, parties. I mean, we can go from the Roots to Young Jeezy to Jay-Z. I mean, pick an artist, you all use your power.
Yeah.
And that day, you know, I think a lot of people don't really understand the significance that you I mean, everybody who is anybody was sitting on that table with you.
Yeah.
Everybody heard that message that was in the audience, and I swear to God, you know, people talked about it. They did take your words, you know, put on a Sunday best, and everybody was moving in that direction, but definitely went the extra yard to be like, we're going to fall back and make sure.
Yeah, nobody did anything dumb after.
Right. And you would think that would be like, you know, let me give you a wink and a nod and let me do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But you didn't see that.
Yeah, we didn't act. I did. I always ask for something.
Right.
But the guys on the top don't know no better. You know, they just doing what the will of the people. You know, the people say we like them, we want them, and they just being represented speaking for the people. But essentially, that just makes them a senator or a congressman. They don't understand the crux of the problem. The crux of the problem is, you know, you represent a community of young men that don't have the ability to take care of their basic needs and the children they father and the women they're with. And if you fix that, your community starts to heal. And if you don't demand that from the president you supporting, you're a fool.
Right. Well, as you said in the beginning, that's of any politician.
Yeah.
Mayor, you know, police chief, the whole nine.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, we got Killer Mike in the building. You got your DJ here, man. What's your name, brother?
Trackstar.
I'm Trackstar, the DJ.
Trackstar. Where you out of?
I'm living in Atlanta now, represent St. Louis.
Okay, so St. Louis, man.
Yep.
We haven't had people come out of there, Nelly, the Lunatics. But I'm trying to remember. There were some groups before that. way before. I'm gonna remember Early D. That's what I'm thinking.
There was Silk Smooth.
Silk Smooth. Yeah.
At Trick with a Good Rap with King Odie.
Okay.
Who's the big homie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a lot.
But now you're on the map there.
I'm, trying.
Let me talk a little bit about music for a minute. Okay.
Yup.
Your album has been getting rave reviews.
Been getting some classics.
And it's not just because you have nice lyrics that we can get to. You know what I mean? That's good. But you came with, it's like, here we call it the Thiz face. Once upon a time,
Yeah.
it was called the gas face. Before that, it was the funk face. You listen to a cut and you go, ooh,
Oh, man,
let me
that's
rewind
dope.
that.
That's
Ooh.
dope. That's dope.
And, LP produced a lot of this.
He
Was it?
produced the entire album.
So, first of all, LP from Company Flow.
Yep.
His sound, his style seems in a whole nother world than Killer Mike.
Yeah.
And even when you listen to LP's album, it ain't what's on your thing.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So how did you and LP hook up, and then what was the whole concept? Because many people are giving rap music a 4 and 5 star and
I think
album
it's a
of the
classic.
year, the
well,
whole
the
thing.
source isn't because they just are relentless about just getting it wrong with me. So,
Well, they
and
don't
even-
count. They
even
don't
my
count to
good-
us.
Yeah, even my good friends at the XXL, I told them I want my other X.
Right.
Well, this is my classic. But I I'm trying to make my music to the best. After I left the commercial side, I just wanted to always keep the same level of quality. So I've always tried to make dope music, and I appreciate y'all supporting the Pledge series and now rap music. But Jason DeMarco, he works with Adult Swim, is a friend of mine at L. He had used me for voiceover work, used L for production work. I had did a singles with him with Flying Lotus last year, and he asked if I'd be interested in possibly doing an album. I'm like, yeah, of course I would, because over here I'd have the freedom to do a record that I couldn't do even going to my independent distributor. They
Right.
wouldn't really know what to do with it. So L and I got in for a week in Atlanta, built up a few, liked it. I started calling L like, you got to do the whole record.
Now, did you know about LP, Def Jux, and all
Yeah,
that?
we
You-
both
you-
knew about each other in the peripheral. He knew my singles, I knew his singles and his movement. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And but I don't think that we had thought that our sounds would mesh like that. Like, I don't think Cube thought he and the Bomb Squad sound would mesh like that before he got off that plane
Right.
and stepped in that room with Chuck and Hank Shock Lee. I just knew I'm willing to push myself, and I always had wanted a one producer, one rapper record, and we figured it out. Like,
So what was it like in the studio? I
a
mean,
lot of
give-
marijuana, a lot of talking BS to each other, and every time the beat moved me, I just got up and rapped. It just came out.
So who led? Was it him who led, or did you lead
Um,
when it came to doing these things? How did it,
it's just like two 16-year-old kids. Like, they're just throwing back and forth his ideas. Not really a lead. The beats lead. The beats always tell you what to do. But the beats will tell you what to do. Then you'll throw down a lyric. Then he'll say, well, that doesn't need to be in the beat. This needs to be in the beat. So the vibe is what led, and a lot of sour diesel.
man? So you came with it, you and
I did.
LP, and it really brought a lot out. Did you have to really spend a lot of time writing, going back, redoing?
I didn't write on this album. This album's not written.
It isn't.
This
So how did
album's
you?
just like stream of consciousness. He put the beats in, and I don't do the whole, I don't write either. I don't do that. I love writing. I think writing is very, very valuable. But over the years, I've just developed a technique where I can just go in and start just getting it out. But in this one, it didn't even feel like that. It was just like a stream of consciousness. The beat would play, a concept would be thought about or talked about back and forth. I'd say I have something, I get up, it come out, stop.
One take on each song?
No, not necessarily like one take on each song, but some songs it all come out, then I go back and figure it out and fix it, but it just poured out.
Well, we talked about, me and you, I called you, not too long after I got the album. I was
You
like,
did.
I have to give you a call on this. But one of the things that stood out, we talked about it, man, you let a certain type of vulnerability
Yeah.
come out. And, in a good way. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like you went beyond the surface, and I really was feeling like
Thank
you put personal feelings in there that went beyond just angry or
Yeah.
the posturing that we can do as men and black men in particular.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, because you seem to open up a lot.
Willie Burke Sherwood was going to be another record, and L said, "Nah, man, you should, really go deep on this. You should talk about something." And I just thought about, it was one of the latter songs we were doing on the record, and I just thought about my grandfather, and then just what he meant to me, and just as a man, like, you're only used to showing certain emotions. As a man, you have to stay very guarded. Like, think about it, man. If you're walking around, you can't afford a job. I mean, a job said they can't afford you. You ain't got much but the clean clothes on your back. You know what I mean? You doing the best. Sometimes you ain't got nothing but pride and ego. So, and we stay in that mode a lot. But I just, with this record, I just thought about my grandfather not having a father and having to be mentored by an uncle, and what it took for him to become a man and help make me a man, like to show me how to tie a tie, to really, advise me on how to move. It was just like it was overwhelmingly beautiful, and it made me, and I start the record in Untitled talking about my fears, my thoughts of, dying or being murdered, my woman possibly moving on, just I talk about all my fears and give you my humanity in that. And then toward the end, I just really wanted people to see my evolution from a child, from literally jumping off my grandma's lap, into the streets, getting captivated by the streets, and realizing this is not for me. Not that I can't hang. I survived. I did very well in the streets, but I never desensitized to the violence. I never desensitized to the tragedy I was seeing. And because I was addicted to reading, like, I could see Shakespeare right before me. I believe that's why people are so intrigued by rap. They're watching a tragedy over and over again. You know what I mean? So, your Macbeth, your Hamlets become Biggie and Tupac because their life is filled with tumultuous drama, love, lust, evil, good, pulling at them. So I started to see that in real life, and that was an insecurity.
Well, I'm going to play a song because you talked about this description, and it's Any Place But Here. Many people, including myself, say it's probably one of their favorite songs off there, and you literally are taken in, and you walk on this journey, with you, and there's a lot of questions I have about it, but let's give people just a taste of what you did with this song, Anywhere But Here, Any Place But Here. Right?
Yes, me featuring Emily Panic.
Who's Emily Panic?
She's a amazing bass guitarist and vocalist who travels the world with bands, making them look doper, and hopefully she'll get to work on her solo project soon.
Okay, well, let's take a listen to this.
All right. This city's not clear.
That's just a taste of it. And you talk about Martin Luther King, all kind of stuff in there, Yeah. I got to ask you, man.
It ends with a cold line.
Yeah, I mean,
what happens to a dream deferred?
That's
Langston,
right.
It kills itself.
I should have let that whole thing played. We'll let it play on the radio side, but people watching us, we had to cut in because we're on a time thing. But it becomes very poetic, and especially towards the end when you do talk about Langston Hughes and King and everybody, and it's just. But what caught me was the whole thing because you from Atlanta, so what made you talk about New York? And you made this. It was like, man, is he from New York? What brought you into that place and made you take us on that journey?
I mean, I spend a lot of time there, and it's the Mecca. I have reverence for New York. I know a lot of people. It's it's popular, act like you don't. But man, and I don't have reverence for the music industry anywhere. I don't care about any of them bums. But man, 40 some odd years ago, a group of children, like if all y'all just take the gravity of this, a group of children decided that an alternative to violence would be art. And it would be art based on speech, dance, DJing, we got b-boying, graffiti, rapping, and what was the other one?
DJing, rap, dance,
graffiti.
And graffiti.
Yeah.
The 4 elements.
You got these
and then
4
knowledge
elements
of self.
and
the
knowledge
fifth.
of self. You got that, and they just decided we're going to change our environment, and they changed the whole world. That's just amazing to me. And as I look at New York with that wonder, I have to recognize that there's a child sitting in there who's just grown up post-Reagan era, who's just tired of being in the projects, a victim of stop and frisk, a victim of this oppressive new New York law, used as a fear campaign by police, and he just wants to leave. And for Atlanta, black male heaven, beautiful women, economic prosperity. You have from the mayor to the cops, it's black blood. I mean, it's black people, and still a black woman dies and is murdered there. Even
Right.
George Turner said, our current chief, my mentor, first time ever that white policemen were ever charged and actually had to do jail time.
You know what we're going to do? Because I forgot. We're going to play that song again. Okay? I want people to listen to to listen to the lyrics of it, because you talked about that. You know, too many ghosts in this town, so that's the second verse. Man.
Yeah.
We had to let it play. And we're back. If you're just going, what happened? Killer
happened?
Mike was about to say something really profound, and they just shut the entire building down. He was about to give the secret to life.
Secret to life.
So he said this is what the meaning of the pyramids is. Tune in, and everybody was tuned in, and they just turned it off, man.
And I forgot.
Somebody came in there and said, don't talk about the pyramids. So we said, okay, man,
Jeez.
we just talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Respect.
But, you know, going back to the song, you know, contrasting Atlanta and New York, you know, I'm bringing that to, as you said, Atlanta became the Mecca for so many people.
Yeah.
It became, from New York, a lot of people moved down there. A lot of people from Cali
Yep.
moved out there. And you would think that the full potential of all that brain power, all that
Yeah, would
money,
be maximized.
everything would take it to a next level, but it hasn't.
We still don't own the grocery stores or the food stores or the laundromats in our community. We own some big houses and some cars, but
Little mini mansions.
yeah, but we don't own anything that
But
really.
Atlanta's getting gentrified.
Yeah, but they put a stop to that.
Oh, they did fine.
Yeah, I mean, ain't no money being made, so
Okay.
it's not like you can have the same speed of gentrification.
So what do you think happened? What do you think we you know?
In Atlanta?
Yeah. What do you think happened?
Oh man, you know
The black capitalism of the black capital.
Well, I mean, the old Atlanta's still intact. I mean, you know, the airport, those vendors are still, you know, African American men. You know, a lot of them. Herman Russell is still there. You know, some of the largest owners and proprietors of McDonald's are still there. It's a lot of like real black money. But that flashy black money, you know, that I bought a Benz, I just opened up a new record store. No, that's crumbling and fading. But Atlanta's always going to be okay and endure, because its economic structure is not based on entertainment like some of the other cities that have seen money in the black community in the last 20 years. It's thanks to, you know, men like Maynard Jackson and Andrew Young. I'm not saying we're foolproof, but what I am saying that there's actual business and commerce there. What we're missing is a true merchant and middle class businessman. And so some of the guys that are going down there, you know, with dreams to open the next biggest club, would like to focus on opening some other things that your people are going to be shopping with on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And, you know, then venturing into the clubs. You know, we need some more corner stores. We need some more gas stations owned by people who look like us.
We don't need any more 112s.
No, we don't need no more.
Or no more Magic Cities.
Our African brothers done mastered that. Shouts out to Alex Get One. They done mastered that.
What have you learned over the years that we now see you put into work?
Open a sustainable business, you know, and just be, you know, just, I think for me, the smartest thing I did was start deciding to do other things than rap, whether it was real estate, whether it's barbershops, whether it's whatever. I started to get into stuff that my people are going to need on a daily, weekly, or yearly, or annual basis, instead of only, just using words. You got our people need to be sold something, and we should be the merchants that do it. So that's what I've learned. That's what I try to give to other young artists, and take advantage of these economic times. If you're messing around and you can luck up into some money, look into going somewhere like Atlanta and picking up a house that was built 6 years ago for $150,000 for a third of the price for $50,000. Like, start just making wise decisions. That's it. Because it all ends. Even if my rap career can end, your 20s are definitely going to end, and the real world is on the other side of that end day. Right. And you got to prepare for that.
That's real talk right there. Going back to your, the music and everything that you've been putting out. You said that you are moving in other directions.
Yep.
What's the next level for you now? Do you go into acting? That's usually the big step off, or does Killer Mike go into politics?
I see me as do
you become the next mayor?
Acting and politics are the same thing.
That is
I
true.
Think, yeah. I'm going to go wherever I'm will to. I wanted to be a rapper, and it's obvious I have talents that exceed that. So, will you see me on TV doing some stuff? Probably, if the opportunity is there, and it's not demeaning. Yeah, because I'm already doing voiceover work. I've done some, jumped in a little movie too, indie movie or two.
Okay.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
What voiceovers will we recognize?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I played the cell phone. I was Taquil on Frisky Dingo. Those guys no longer do Frisky Dingo. Now they do Archer over at Fox. Damn, I wish I would have done that.
Right.
I've also done some Boondocks drops and just some other stuff, and got some more stuff.
Can you give us a sample of your, a lot of people watching, a lot of people listening. Just give us a Killer Mike, just a voiceover or something.
I don't know. I just feel you just go check it out on YouTube.
Do a voiceover for our show.
I don't change my voice. It's basically my voice. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you went to character.
No.
Oh, okay, that's what I was looking for.
It's me, just a more animated version of. Okay. Like Taquil had something called the Holocaust. Like it was amazing how asinine they could write that show. But the stuff's up on YouTube. Frisky Dingo, check it out. So that, but I definitely I see myself at some point running for a local seat. City councilman, county commissioner, or something, because I believe everybody should be involved in politics on a local level.
Right.
Like if you're in a, if your kids go to school, you should be on the PTA board or school board, and I believe everybody having those aspirations makes everyone more involved in the political process and makes the community better.
Okay. Track, what do you think, man? He's being modest. What do you see him doing?
I mean, honestly,
killing tours.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna be on the road for the next 40 years. Maybe a Vegas review.
Right.
Something like that.
I think what we need to do, we're gonna get a good shot of you. We're gonna take a picture, and I'm gonna be able to say, man, remember when Mayor Mike was in the building with us? Remember he was doing that rap thing? We had the blackout. Now he's the mayor or the governor of Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, whatever God got planned for me. Whatever he got planned.
One last political question as we get ready to wrap up. Atlanta has all this power.
It does.
But why hasn't it been able to go outside of Atlanta, get a black governor, get black senators?
Well, we're still in Georgia.
Even be able to.
Well, Kasim was a state rep. Our current mayor was a state representative, but we're still in Georgia. But
more than a third of the state is African American.
Yeah, but more than a third of the state ain't Atlanta, and they don't have the economic ability that Atlanta has. Atlanta's greatest asset is that on an economic level, blacks have been able to compete with the $1 million campaigns. Blacks have been able to compete with construction. Blacks have been able to compete with fast food ownership, with land ownership. And some of our brothers and sisters in Georgia haven't had those advantages. Now, it is up to Atlanta to start to, now that DeKalb County is one of the richest counties and majority black, it's time to start spreading that out. It's time to get it all the way down to Macon, take it all the way down to Savannah and connect that. It is. But I'm not the person who's been doing that for the last 40 years. They have a group of men that have been, so I can come in and add my humble suggestions and try to do what I can from the hip-hop side. But, I think that cities outside of Atlanta certainly can and should be replicating her successes and not following her fads or the nuances that haven't been successful.
Is it still a racial thing when you look at such large African-American populations? Mississippi, 30, 40%.
Yeah.
You know, and we haven't even counted the brown folks that have moved to those places.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, Georgia, 33%. You know, Alabama, same thing. And you would think that with such large numbers, and especially an even larger number on the younger population, why we haven't been able to really start to run things in a way that,
well,
that we should.
just because you got the racial numbers don't mean you had a cultural dynamic to do it. That's the thing. Like, culturally, you know, we have not had the advantage that we deserve. You know, racially, we've gotten the numbers up. We've got given some opportunities to work in municipalities and have state jobs and pensions, but we haven't had culturally. Like we were talking about the ridiculousness. Someone was talking about the ridiculousness of Black History Month. And I was just saying, you know, the thing about it is blacks don't have a nation to return to. See, if you're Greek American, you can go back to Greece. You can talk about that, and you guys have the Greek flag in your home. So the only thing that united and gave us solidarity and high holidays were the King Days or the Black History Months. They give a sense of culture. Now we have that. Now it's time to build culturally on that. Black History Month is just a cultural fabric that everything else is supposed to start coming on top of to make a tapestry. We got Black History Month, but we need the businesses in the black community that's going to hang the Black History Month calendars. We need to have our people going exclusively to our dry cleaners, exclusively to our restaurants, spending, even if it's a chain restaurant, even if it's a Red Lobster, needs to be owned by somebody who looks like you or partially owned by somebody who looks like you.
But the challenge we have is those who may look like us don't always have the same politics of pushing for freedom.
Yeah, well, brother, we can't eat at your restaurant, but somebody does. Like, I happen to know that one of the largest proprietors in McDonald's in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, is a black man who's pretty much financed for the last 40 years every Democratic black campaign that won, like whether it was Andy or Joseph Lowry's campaigns against poverty or Reverend Orange's. So I mean, they're like-minded business people, and the beautiful thing about the black businessman, even down to myself, even though we will have business ideals that match perfectly with the Republican agenda, because I own a business now, I hate being taxed. I hate the extra municipality taxes that, well, you got to pay this tax to hang a sign. You got to have this tax to pay at this kind of door. And my instincts are to vote Republican. A lot of times based on, I could get about half of the annual taxes I pay knocked off. But morally, I'm always going to be with y'all. And morally, these rich men who got this money, even the Puffs and the Jay-Z's who y'all love to criticize, they with y'all. But y'all have to decide y'all are going to have a real agenda and do it y'all way. Like, y'all have to decide that instead of yelling out the Italian designers, even though we know Puff stuff made in other countries and use brown, I'm only going to buy Sean John as a show of solidarity. Now, when it comes around time for our politician to get elected, Puff, we only bought Sean John. We need you to give this much money to him.
What would be 3 things that you say need to be on the agenda if it was you leading the charge?
Black male jobs program, immediately. Black business development partnerships in which young African Americans of black men and women would have to and have an opportunity to partner with people who have other successful change in their community. So essentially do the same thing Magic Johnson did on a microcosm. We all can't own Starbucks and that, but we all can own a Citco. It's easier to own a Citco than it is some Exxons and BPs. So we need to be going into partnership with the Indian brothers and sisters, or they can't put one in the community.
So when people come in, they got to partner with you.
They got to partner, or you can't come in. So a jobs program, a partnership, or you can't come in. And I also would put a lot into the expunging of records for African Americans, the decriminalization of certain drugs, the wiping away of certain drug laws, and getting those brothers who've been a resource in prison back out on the streets and leading healthy and productive lives. No.
You know, my last thing, the police, you know.
Yeah.
You come with it on a song we haven't seen. People take it to the police as you did on the song After Reagan.
Yeah,
you know?
Don't Die.
Don't Die. Since Trayvon Martin has been killed, there have been 60 police shootings of black males, or black people, since Trayvon alone.
Wow.
It's not the whole year. You know, we had entire cities where you've had 60 or more in a year, just in one city. And with stop and frisk in New York, where you had 680,000 people get stopped, resulting in death, and out of those 680,000, less than 10% are found to be in violation of anything. we have our mayor in San Francisco talking about he wants to bring it here. You know, what do we deal with? How do we deal with that? How do we start dealing with those police when we see that there seems to be it used to be a low-wage war. Now it seems very direct and very deliberate.
Well, my dad was a cop.
Right. I remember.
Yeah.
You talk about it in the song.
Yeah. So for me, I understand, first of all, in our community, I'm never mad at the black cop. I'm never mad at any cops because community needs to be protected. Black communities need to be policed by people who look like people from that community. So with that, power unchecked always spoils and becomes rotten. And that's just what happened in every American police force you can virtually think of in a major city. You have a group of people who've been criminalized and demonized. You have a group of people who know I can abuse these people and with no repercussions and no ramifications. And I think that certainly the community needs to rally against that abuse. But in matters of the police, know that the boss of your police is your mayor. And that goes back to that voting block. If your police are killing your children, harassing you, targeting your communities, roadblocking your communities, willing to bring unfair, unconstitutional things like stop and frisk, that's unconstitutional. Yet you're letting that fly. If you allow that mayor to stay in office, if you're not harassing him, if you're not doing sit-ins, if you're not legally pushing your mayor to the point where he has to call out the police and or the National Guard to damn near billy club you, you are a fool. And it's that simple. When they killed that young woman, that lady Katherine Johnson, I was
Which
proud.
you talk about in the song.
Yes, what you're talking about. I was proud of the fact that regardless of whatever motives were behind the people who jumped on board with the family, that they had the good sensibilities to get directly on TV and immediately call out Atlanta's mayor. See, it's one thing to get mad, F the police. Oh, I hate the BART cops. But it's another thing to threaten them with political destruction, to say, I will take all that power. We may not get you today, but I bet you come election time, we're going to take all our votes across the yard. When that starts to happen, when you start to let people know that I will use this ballot as a bullet, things start to change. Can
you really use the ballot, or does it have to come with other things?
I think you use the ballot as a bullet, and if that doesn't work, you prepare your bullets.
And you're serious about that.
I'm an American. Like I am an American. I fish, I hunt, I treasure my rights. I will exercise them fully. And I believed what they taught me in 9th grade civics class. This is the greatest country because we all free. And I'm not going to have my freedom infringed. I don't care if you think it's because I'm black, I feel I'm entitled. No, this ain't about Martin Luther King. This is about Crispus Attucks. That's what you got to understand about me. From day one, I deserve what I have, and I'll die to keep it.
That's real talk right there. Killer Mike, man, the name of the album. Rap music. Real African.
Rebellious African people's music. And that's not talking about hip-hop, mind you.
No, you go beyond it.
It's about gospel. It's about soul. It's about funk. It's about the sound that black people have been making since they touched this ground just to resist oppression.
Do you top this album? Do you take it to another direction next album?
Well, last year I dropped the album called Pledge, and you asked me that too.
Right. That's true. Well, I'm just thinking, maybe you're thinking ahead of time.
Yeah, of course I.
You're listening, you're going, what I think?
Yeah, of course I'm going to top this record.
Okay.
My next 3 records are going to be better than my last 3, and my last 3 were better than the ones before that.
I want to, again, thank you for coming in. I appreciate the Reagan song.
Thank you.
Because and especially being in California, where they want to have Ronald Reagan Day, it's good to have you here.
Yeah.
For people that are watching us right now, tonight you will be performing.
Yeah, where we at?
Where y'all at tonight?
The Regency Ballroom.
That's right, the Regency Ballroom, Public Enemy, and a whole bunch of others have been there.
Despot, Mr. MF and Esquire, and headlined by my homie LP.
That's right. George Clinton's been there.
That's dope.
So it's been over there on Van Ness.
Word.
So that should be good, the Regency Ballroom.
All my Bay Area people, come holler at me. Yasmin, what's up down East Palo Alto? Shouts out to my girl up in Richmond, man, my home girl, Sophie, love her to death. Shouts out to Will, Stretch, Seaside. Shouts out to, who else I got out here? I got a few people out here. Well, I remember the rest of y'all.
Well, we will definitely catch you there.
Huggy. All right, what's up, Hugs?
Huggy Bear?
Yeah.
Huggy Bear from the... No, not that.
Not from Starsky and Hutch.
Okay. Well, Killer Mike, man, it's a pleasure. I'm going to give you a 4 or 5 star on that.
4 or 5 stars. I hope the 5, man. I'm shooting for the classic, man. But I know classic got to get lived with.
You know what I'm looking for. It becomes a 5 star if I get to do a verse or anywhere but here, because that stays in the tape deck.
Man, we got to get you.
So I'm gonna come down to Regency Ballroom, and no, I want to do it on stage. I want to play the Tim.
Let's go.
You know, I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna, you know.
I know you're gonna do the honors. So
you know what I'm gonna do? I want to be the sound. I want to do the one that punctuates each word.
Okay.
Like the hype man.
Yeah.
Like your man's a billionaire.
Yeah. Let's get it. You get the night off.
Oh, that's what I'm taking your job tracks. No, I don't want to do that, man.
You got it.
Okay. Well, anyway, man, Killer Mike, we appreciate it. How do we get a hold of you, Killer Mike GTO?
Yeah, Killer Mike, KILLERMIKE GTO on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
You tried to change your name for a minute.
No, my name is changed.
It is?
Oh, man, I gave them white folks something to say. Don't play with me now. My mama ain't raised no fool.
Wait, what did you do?
See, them folks say, man, look, they say, Michael, we want to bring you and do this event, and we have $15,000, Michael, but your name is Killer Mike, and I just can't do it. So I said, hold on, let me fix that. I go out on the campaign, I'm Mike Bigger, yeah. The Wikipedia change is Mike Bigger. Now when they go to their boss, they say, hey, I got this guy named Mike Bigger. I want to give him $15,000 to perform. And they say, oh, go ahead, scratch it off, because it's not Killer Mike. So I am Killer Mike until the marketing meeting happens, and I am Mike Bigger. Thank you for my money. Goodbye. That's how it works, bro.
There you go, man. Always a pleasure. We're going to go out of here. Peace. We're out.
Oh, yeah, the Mike Bigger LLC. Yeah.
T Radio V. Radio in TV.